Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hi guys, happy Friday evening.
Yeah, I always forget, the day of the week myself at the moment. Can't say I really have the Friday feeling, but still, it is
Yeah,
Friday.
very true.
Yeah, so exactly. Tell us your name and where you are from, and we will do the same. My name is Sean. I come from Ireland. I have lived and worked in Milan since September in the school on Via Meravigli, and Danielle also works there.
Yep, exactly. Hi guys, I'm Danielle. I'm Australian, and I've been working at my Smeravili for exactly 1 year longer than Sean. So I started in
Oh,
September 2018.
okay,
So yeah,
great.
shall we get started? It's quite a good focus. I think there's a lot of I don't know, for your high level guys, it's quite good to. It's got a
Yeah,
lot of good material in it.
yeah, lots of vocabulary and interesting things to talk about. So, yeah, I'll just introduce the topic a little bit, and anyone who's tuning in, absolutely introduce yourselves so we can get to know you and you can participate the whole way through. So, in this focus activity, talking about the five senses, so the way that you perceive the world, the different ways that you do, and vocabulary for making observations. So, describing things that you perceive through the senses, and figurative speech. So, kind of interesting ways of expressing things through metaphors and similes and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. So for guys, for your high level, figurative speech is quite useful. Something that you can
Yeah,
sort of experiment with a little bit. But we'll get onto that. We'll explain it once we come to it.
yeah, definitely. So, we'll charge ahead to the five senses. So, what are the five senses?
Yeah. Sure, you guys know. Maybe we should show them. So obviously you've got sight, sound, taste, smell, and hearing.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes, these are the five senses. And now we are filling in the gaps here in this little text with the senses and some other words. So, touch, tongue, brain, sight, five, smell, hear, skin, taste, transmit, and function. So, some verbs and different vocabulary there. Danielle, do you want to run through the text without filling the gaps?
Sure. So the senses. Traditionally, there are senses and corresponding sense organs: the eyes, nose, ears, blip, and the skin. Each organ has a different blip. The eyes provide a sense of blip. The nose is a conduit for the sense of blip. The ears let us blip, while the tongue allows us to blip. Finally, the blip, which is the largest organ, exercises the sense of blip. The function of the sense organ is to receive internal or external stimuli and blip them to the nervous system and thus to the blip. The coordinated use of all these senses leads to awareness and balances in the human body.
Hmm.
It's very biologically focused text.
Yeah. Yeah, I was never very good at biology in school. I'm
Yeah, it
not a
wasn't my
very
favorite
scientific
subject either.
mind.
Yeah, it wasn't my strength.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
should we go through, I guess, and just fill them in?
Yeah.
So,
Yes. So traditionally there are five senses. So there's the five that we went through and corresponding sense organs. An
mhm.
organ is, I'm not sure of a scientific definition, but it's things like the heart and the lungs and the stomach. It's kind of part of your body that all works together for the same function. So the eyes, nose, ears, and then I think tongue, which is the organ for taste. And each organ has a different function, a different purpose. Danielle, do you want to continue?
Mm-hmm. So the eyes provide a sense of sight. The nose is a conduit. It's an interesting word. So a conduit is sort of something which allows something else to happen. Okay. The nose is a conduit for the sense of smell. The ears let us hear, obviously, while the tongue allows, the tongue allows us to taste.
Yes, very good. Yes. Finally, the skin, which is the largest organ, a very interesting fact, exercises the sense of touch. The function of the sense organ is to receive internal or external stimuli and transmit them to the nervous system and thus to the brain. God, how would you define a stimuli?
Something, so I'm just sorry, so yes, so stimulus is the singular and stimuli is the plural, and it's something which triggers something else. Yeah. So yeah, something which makes something else happen. Okay.
Yeah. A cause for something, and in this case, a cause for a certain reaction in the nervous system and the brain. So your nerves, which connect all of the organs to your brain and communicate your perceptions. So, using your senses, which senses are these examples of? There may be more than one answer. So I think the task is to try and speak about through which senses you perceive certain things. So the first example is a breathtaking sunset.
Yeah. So it's quite interesting because we've got the word breath, all right, which is obviously your mouth. What does it mean if something is breathtaking?
Yeah. So breathtaking means that you see something and it's so striking that you stop breathing, you forget to breathe. You suddenly go, it's like that, and you're struck by something. It's talking about things that you see, always breathtaking. And I think in this particular example, you see a breathtaking sunset. It's very much sight. I don't think it really has a smell or anything else.
I don't think so, no. Yeah, I think it would be sight.
Yeah. A fresh ground coffee. What about this one?
Yeah. So freshly ground. So ground in this sense, guys, freshly ground is like an adjective, right? So ground, you obviously think of the what's on the floor, on the earth, but also ground can mean when it's something is made into. Sorry, everyone, you can hear my baby.
Take a minute, Danielle. I can.
I'm sorry. When something is made into very small particles, so it's like the soil in the ground. So if coffee is freshly ground, it means the beans have been turned into little granules.
Yeah. So the senses for fresh ground coffee, I would say definitely smell. Coffee has a very strong smell, I love the smell of coffee myself. It has a kind of a reviving smell. It wakes you up. And also touch, the particular feel of the granules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A thunderstorm on a hot day.
That's an
Yeah,
interesting
this
one.
is yeah. I definitely don't come from a hot country. Do you get
Yeah.
thunderstorms on hot days in
Um,
Australia?
Very occasionally. It depends on in
Mm.
which part of the country you are. So I'm from the south of Australia, where most people are, to be honest. But if you're in the top sort of third of Australia, it's very tropical, and the climate is actually
Mm.
closer to Southeast Asia. So there are cyclones, and yes, during summer it's very hot and humid, and there are often thunderstorms, even when it's hot.
Mm.
So, yeah, this is an interesting one because obviously a thunderstorm is your hearing. But I guess the idea of this
Mm.
is that it's touch because it's your skin, right? So maybe it's very hot, so it's very humid. That's what I would think about. Um,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah. When it's so hot, you can feel it. That's
yeah,
definitely a distinct feeling. A screeching train, so really, really loud train. I mean, yeah, it's hearing, but often not so much anymore because often trains are now electrical or but I remember, I mean, maybe Ireland was very backwards, but when I was a child, the trains still had a lot of smoke coming out of them and you would smell them, which was
that's
always very
interesting.
intense. Yeah.
Um,
But maybe Ireland was just backwards.
So, guys, screeching is something very high pitched, right? So, a person
Mhm.
screeching is the adjective, but screech is also a verb, and describes a
Mhm.
very high pitched sound. Yeah,
Yeah, like the noise that bats make,
yeah,
kind of very high. Yeah.
yeah,
And homegrown strawberries. Mm, yeah, I think this one is taste.
yeah. It has to be
Strawberries and
taste.
cream. Yeah,
Yeah,
good combination. Hmm. A pork roast cooking in the oven. So it's not finished yet, it's just being prepared. So I
yeah.
think this one is about the smell.
Yeah. It could
Have
also
you
maybe be
been?
the sound as well. You know, when things
Oh
cooking, I
yeah,
guess if it's
the
pork as well, it's,
crackling.
yeah, the spit and the crackle of the pork,
Yeah,
maybe the sound. But yeah, absolutely the taste, I guess. Sorry, the
yeah.
smell. Yeah, the smell.
Hmm. A warm embrace. Yeah, I think this is kind of feeling, it's kind of touch, and it's kind of the feeling of someone surrounding you is very particular.
Yeah,
But someone
absolutely.
that could have a smell as well, that kind of thing can sometimes be very powerful. Yeah. And one more, an ice cream cone. What about this one, Danielle?
I guess it has to be taste. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it would have to be taste. Also, maybe sense
Yeah.
because I feel like the feel of an ice cream cone is very particular,
Yeah.
isn't it? If it's a waffle cone or even a normal cone that you buy from the supermarket, it's got a very specific sort of crack to it. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm messy, but I cannot eat an ice cream without getting some on my hands and having
oh, yeah,
sticky
that's true.
hands.
Yeah,
So for me, that's part of having an ice cream.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's great. We do have someone watching us, so please tell us your name and interact with us.
Thanks for logging in on Friday night. But yeah, please tell us who
Yeah.
you are. We want to know. You can answer some of our questions for us and for everyone who watches later on.
Hmm. So the nose knows. Do you want to run through this
Mhm.
vocabulary, Danielle?
Sure. So yeah, guys, so the nose knows. There is certain vocabulary we use to make observations using our senses. All right, this is like a common way in which we speak. So it smells or it smells like. Right? It sounds like. It tastes like, it feels like, it looks like. All right. So this is interesting. So we use like with nouns, but no preposition is needed for adjectives.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So for example, if you're looking outside and you see lots of trees going like this, you say it looks windy. Hi, Sarah. Wow, we have someone. Thank you. Sarah,
Hi.
thanks for logging in. We know everyone's at home on a Friday night, but we're glad someone has decided to log in. So please answer all of our questions. You've got a private lesson, basically.
Yeah, very lucky.
So yeah, we would say it looks windy, right? Windy being the adjective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, Sean, keep
And
going.
I was just about to say that like is a bit of an interesting word in the English language because there's this case here where it has an actual function insofar as you are comparing something. You can use like for comparisons. But a lot of people use it, especially Americans, use it to just kind of fill the gaps in what they're saying. So they'd be say, well, I was doing this like, and then like, there's no reason for it to be there. So it's a bit confusing, but here it has a reason. So the example, fresh ground coffee smells delicious, but it looks like dirt. Yeah.
Right.
So give examples of your own.
So in this
So,
context, guys, like Sean said, like can mean so many things, including that sort of filler that some people use it. That's how they use it. But in this context, it means similar to. Yeah.
mhm.
So it means similar to.
And of course, it's also I like, talking about your preferences, the things you enjoy. So it's very versatile.
Okay. So Sarah, if you want to try and give us an example, please write us. Write one or two in the messages. Also, Sarah, maybe you weren't watching, but we should tell you. So Sean and I are both from Milan as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're all in Milan.
Yeah.
So let's. Okay, I'll give you a strange example. So it tastes like. So I feel that when people eat a strange type of meat, right, and an exotic type of meat, they often say it tastes like chicken. I don't know why, but chicken seems to be the meat that everything else tastes like. So that's a quite common.
Yeah, frogs' legs and things. People always say
Yeah,
it's like chicken.
yeah, exactly.
Mm,
Yeah. Okay, that's another example. It's quite strange not having any direction as to how we use these. What about
mm,
um, also use it looks like when you talk about people?
yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, do you know someone that looks like a celebrity, for example?
Mm,
Right.
yeah. A look alike is a word, a bit of a
Yeah.
strange word. A look alike, which is somebody who looks like someone else.
Noun. Yeah. So she's a look-alike of someone.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, there's a funny thing that I'm thinking about, which is this strange thing. I don't know how to describe it. I don't even know what the word for it is. But it's like this instrument on a handle with these kind of prongs coming out. And it looks a bit like a whisk, but it's
Okay.
open. And you put it on your head and you
Yeah,
put it up and down like that, and it feels so good. It feels like tiny vibrations on your scalp,
I think it's a
and
head
it's
massager.
yeah, something like
I
that.
think it's just
But
a head massager. Sarah, no
yeah,
worries. Sarah's saying she has no idea. That's okay. It's quite a sort of a strange exercise because there's
yeah,
no sort of parameter, but I'm sure you understand.
bit of an abstract task. So, figurative language. So now we have metaphors and similes. So, just to outline the difference between those two. A metaphor is a comparison without using like or as. So a metaphor is a very direct way to present a comparison. Her soft voice was music to his ears. So you aren't, making, you aren't using a comparative word like or as. You are just saying this is this. Obviously, we know that that's not literally the case, but it's the a metaphor kind of very strongly implies that there's a connection between these two by not using a word like or as. And then you have great taste in fashion. It's another example. And a simile is a comparison that does use like or as. So eating without salt is like eating cardboard. He's blind as a bat and deaf as a doorknob. And a hyperbole is an exaggeration. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. So hyperbole is something that I actually do quite a lot, where you say something outrageous, but you don't mean it. It's just to really express the intensity of what you feel. So anything when you're talking about figurative language, you're trying to express the emotional quality, the way something
Yeah,
feels, rather than the literal circumstances.
yeah.
Hmm.
What's your favorite? So, Sean, that's interesting that you like using. We say hyperbole. I don't. Yeah, um, hyperbole.
Okay.
What's an example? Because I have an example that I use all the time.
Oh,
Which maybe I
really?
can share. I could say he when someone says something which I think is crazy, I say, "Are they on a different planet?"
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
like quite a common saying, I guess. And I find I say it a lot
Exaggeration.
when people say ridiculous things. Are they on a different planet?
Yeah.
Hmm.
For
Do you
me,
have?
it's things like if I'm telling a story about, maybe I went to the post office and there was a line, I'd say I was there for hours and I wasn't. It's just exaggeration. But the other person will usually understand that I was not there for hours because it's
Yeah,
it's a convention in English. We all do it.
yeah. This is true. Sarah's got an example. Her eyes are pearls. I haven't heard that one, but yeah, you could
Mhm.
say that. Yeah. So her eyes. I presume maybe that was a typo. So her singular. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So she was doing this, which is think of a figurative language phrase for each of the five senses. So smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing. So she was saying that her eyes looked like
Yeah.
pearls.
Um, Also, with touch, some people use the concept of silk, so they have a
Yeah.
silky touch. Uh,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
you can say that. Yeah, you can say that in English as well,
You
Sarah.
can, yeah. 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 And in
Exactly.
Ireland, we always say, to be honest, you take someone who says I'm hungry more seriously than you take someone who says I'm starving seriously, because we always say, "Oh yeah, I'm starving," and we don't mean it. If you say, "No, I am actually very hungry," you say, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll get you something to eat," because you're exaggerating so much. Yeah.
um, so yeah, silky, silk. Her touch. She has a silky touch. Um, You talk about smells. There are some old sayings about roses as well.
Mhm.
Her scent is like roses or something.
Yeah, there's a few for people's voices, for the sounds of people's voices. So
Mhm.
a very nice kind of soft voice, you would say honey-toned maybe,
Yeah.
and a very negative one would be like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah, nails on a chalkboard.
A really deeply unpleasant sound. Yeah, so we'll move along. Great work, Sarah. Please keep up with us. So, metaphors. What do you think each of these sense metaphors mean? So, can you run through those, Danielle?
Sure. So, guys, these are quite common. There's maybe one or two that aren't that common, but the others are. We use them a lot. At least I use them a lot. So it's worth remembering. So we've got chill out, feeling blue, a cloudy memory, a shady character, feeling rough, a bright idea, and their meanings. The options are can't remember, relax, a good plan, in poor health, sad, an untrustworthy person. All right,
Mhm.
so Sarah, if you're watching, do you want to have a shot at connecting them? Right, figuring out which is which. I don't know about you, Sean. Do you use all of these, or are there any you don't
Yeah,
use?
yeah. I don't know that I would call someone a shady character, but I would, it's a very common thing to say, I think.
Yeah, I don't think a cloudy memory. I wouldn't use that, but all of the rest of them I definitely
Yeah.
use. Um,
I think
yeah,
I would be more likely to say my memory's foggy of that particular occasion. I have a foggy memory, which is basically the same thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
It's a similar concept,
Yeah.
isn't it? Something cloudy, something foggy. Hmm.
And
Okay.
again, these are so common that I wouldn't even register that they're a metaphor. We're so used to using
Yeah,
them. So Sarah's matching.
3A.
Mhm. Yeah, very
Yes.
good.
And
Definitely.
6C. Yes,
Mhm. Very
exactly.
good.
The rest of them.
Um, yeah, we'll go through the rest of them. It's great that you know those ones. So, chill out is relax. To chill out, to
Yeah,
relax. It's
yeah.
very common.
It's quite common if you ask someone, what are you doing this weekend? I'm just going to chill out. What are you doing
Mhm.
tonight? I'm
Yeah.
just going to chill out. Yeah.
And you can describe a relaxed person as very chill.
Yep.
Yes. And then feeling blue is feeling sad.
Yeah.
Cloudy memory, can't remember exactly. Very good. Number four, shady character, an untrustworthy person, kind of
Yeah.
a dodgy character, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Sarah has five, does she? She says E, which feeling rough is not feeling sad.
Yeah. That's a good guess, though. I can see why that would, um, a sort of
Mm.
similar. But yeah, it's when you're in poor health. Okay. If
Yeah,
you're feeling rough, it's when you feel unwell. I would also say um, feeling rough is when someone has a hangover. They say, "Oh,
yeah.
I'm
For me,
feeling rough."
it's more for that than if you're sick. It's for if you're tired or hungover or just
Yeah,
not feeling full of the joys of spring.
yeah. It's Sarah. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to chill out this weekend. That's perfect. Yep. Uh, so yeah, feeling rough. It's when you're It's not for a serious illness. It's when, like Sean says, you're not quite right. That's when you're feeling rough. Yep. And then,
Yeah.
a bright idea, a good plan. Just one thing, guys. So the idea of a shady character. So shady is the sort of operative word here, and it comes from obviously the shade, right? So there's a tree, the sun, everything's dark. That's the shade. So it comes from the idea of someone is not fully seen. So it's someone who's sort of in the dark. Yeah. So they're a bit shady. You don't really understand them. There's something not quite right about them, as in
Mm.
their motives or their intentions. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, it's always good to really think about the origin of the metaphor to understand and remember it. I think it's
Yeah.
always good to try and do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some options here. Sight, hearing, taste and smell, and touch. What one do you think we should do, Danielle?
Should we do taste and smell just because it's got two and we can see how far we
Yeah,
get?
we can go back if necessary. So think about your favorite food. Describe it in detail, thinking about the taste and smell when you eat it. Try and use figurative language. Okay,
Before we go on,
so
sorry, Sarah has a
yeah.
good question. Are they all polite or informal
Hmm,
expressions? Okay, that's
okay,
it's a very good question.
I'll go back.
Yeah. So
Um,
to some of them are, yeah, I guess in general they're more
yeah,
informal. I think a bright idea, that can be, you can use that in a formal situation.
yeah, yeah,
Um, Feeling
yeah,
rough, shady character, chill out. Like chill out is very informal.
yeah.
Uh,
I wouldn't tell the Queen I was feeling rough.
no, yeah. Or if you think about like if you in a job interview or
Yeah.
when you're first starting at your workplace or in another type of very formal situation,
I
I
mean, it's not the worst thing to say, certainly in these situations. It's hard to kind of gauge how polite or impolite a metaphor is. It's just something like a bright idea or a cloudy memory are quite neutral, and then shady character feeling rough, they're a little less neutral, I would say. I think maybe it's to do with how negative something is.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a very good question.
Yeah, thank you. So back to taste. This is a tricky thing to do just before I've had any dinner.
Me
But
too.
yeah, so what's your favorite food, Danielle?
It's a bit hard to describe. My favorite cuisine is Mexican.
Right.
I love Mexican food.
Mm,
So I don't have a favorite dish, but all of the typical Mexican dishes I love.
mm,
Um, so, okay, shall I try and explain it using figurative language? So, because Mexican food is quite spicy, and it is. Um, you can say this is quite a common expression. It packs per punch.
mm,
Okay, it packs per punch, and that means for every a punch, so for every amount of something, it's full of energy or is valuable in every single amount. So even for a small amount, if you eat a small amount of Mexican food, it's like there's it's like there's a party in your mouth. That's the way I think about it. Okay.
yeah,
There's lots of clashing
yeah.
flavors. Yeah, lots of different flavors. It's very
Mm,
summery. I think about it as summery food, and very light, uh, as in lots of sort of citrusy and acidic flavors. Yeah, that's how I would explain it.
Mm.
What about you, Sean? What's your favorite food?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's difficult to talk about one dish. One addition that I was associated a lot of different emotional feelings with is an Irish stew.
Mhm.
It's something I used to eat a lot when I was a child, so it has a kind of a bigger significance for me. And something I would say, and I think you can say this for any dish that's quite personal, is that it tastes like home, you know, it
Yeah,
tastes,
so good.
yeah, and you can say smells like home, you know, feels like home. Anything like that is very positive.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah. Um, Certainly, it feels like home. I think that's a really common expression. I use that a lot. So, for example,
Mm,
if you see your friends you haven't seen for a long time, it's like, oh, it feels like home, even though
mm,
you're not at home. Hmm.
yeah, it's a way of saying something is very positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So, Sarah, please tell us what's your favorite food. Try and describe it figuratively. It's not the easiest thing to do. It depends on what kind of a brain you have, I think. But anyway.
Yeah, it depends on how descriptive you are. But there's no wrong answer either with these things.
Mm,
It's figurative, so it's based on your opinion and your impression and your comparisons.
mhm.
Your least favorite food. Okay, this is
And
interesting.
this will make me stop feeling hungry, maybe.
What's your least favorite food?
I hate the taste and smell of bananas in a very particular
Ah,
way.
okay.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, a lot of very many people eat them, so but for me, from day one, it's something very particular about them. I
Okay.
don't know what it is.
Can you
Like,
explain
I
how
find
it
it
makes
difficult
you feel?
to be in the room with one. I don't know, it's this kind of it's I don't know, it's a sweetness that is kind of sickly to me. We talk about when something is so sweet that it's sickly, which means that it's too sweet. It makes it's far too sweet. That's for me a sickly kind of sweetness with the smell of banana. And I
Mhm.
find that also just a banana skin very quickly starts smelling kind of
Yeah.
rotten or rancid.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know
Very
what
good.
you'd compare it to really.
No, I don't know either. It's very particular. Sarah's got an example. Octopus with grilled vegetables is the paradise of senses. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. The idea of paradise, we use that quite often.
Mm,
Um, it's paradise. When you go on
mm,
holiday somewhere, maybe by a beautiful beach, and everything is perfect. You're very relaxed. You're either, you're very content with who you're with. You say, "Oh, it's paradise here."
mm, mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah. Well
it's
done.
like heaven, it's heavenly. We say that a lot as well. Yeah. What's your least favorite food, Danielle?
It's interesting because I like basically all food, except I think the only food I don't like is cream.
Yeah.
Like any type, like whipped cream or just
Okay. Yeah.
gluggy cream, and it's something to
Yeah.
do with the texture.
I'm
Um,
not mad for it myself. I don't hate it, but I don't really understand why it's necessary most of the time.
yeah. So for me, cream is um, like having a ball of mush in your mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Uh,
Texture.
yeah, it's gluggy and mm, it's like having a like a I don't know, like a heavy cloud of something in your mouth. I don't
Yeah.
like it. Yeah.
It's too heavy. Yeah.
And it makes so this is another example of a metaphor. It makes my skin crawl.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, it's very common.
Yeah. So crawl is like what a baby does on its hands and knees, right? But if your skin crawls, it's the idea of something crawling up your skin, and you get all shudders. It's not very nice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great. So I think we have some time. We'll look at a different sense.
Another
And
one.
keep writing, Sarah, if you're describing your least favorite. So, what one will we do now?
Maybe sight. Maybe
Yeah,
hearing might be a bit hard. Yeah.
sight. So, what do you see in each of these pictures? Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
These are optical illusions, I think, are they?
I guess so. Yeah. Uh, I guess this is the situation where you can see two different things, but
Yeah,
for each individual person, it's certainly one thing.
yeah,
Um, so
mm,
I don't know. So for me, C is it could be a wine glass, the black
yeah.
wine glass in the middle, or it could be two white faces opposing each other.
Yeah, for me, it's switching between the two. I
Yeah.
can't, my brain can't decide which one it is.
Um,
Can you
A
see the number in E? It's very small, isn't it?
71.
Yeah,
I don't 74.
I think it's 74. I think there's a different shade of green to make it look like
Yeah,
4 to make it tricky.
yeah,
But I don't know, to be honest.
yeah. I think you're right. 74. Um,
Yeah,
okay. What about A and B? I don't know. It's just B is a black. I don't know how to describe it. A black center with spikes coming out and red lines going through.
yeah. For me, when I look at them a bit bigger on the slides on my computer, they move, both of them. The
Uh,
wheels the
okay,
wheels
yeah,
are turning and these lines are kind of moving in and out.
okay.
So I think when you see them big, that has that effect. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's kind of similar thing for D, where it seems to be going in both directions.
Okay, yeah. Maybe it doesn't transmit very well across StreamYard. What about C? C is very strange.
Hmm.
I think. Um, what is it?
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah,
F. I meant to say F. F is
I'm
very.
looking a bit closer. And so I think it's really strange. This is a man. This is a woman in a skirt. And this is a dog. And they're at a tunnel.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
see that?
I can see a man and a dog. I can't see a woman, but I think I can see her skirt and her
Yeah,
dress.
the collar is the skirt, and the man's ear is she's wearing a kind of a thing draped, and she's like
Yeah.
this.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Mhm.
Okay, very
So
good.
Sarah thinks D is like a mosaic in 3 dimensions. Very, yeah,
Mm,
I
yeah.
guess so. Yeah, it's kind of, it does look like it's coming out, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The
Um,
slide is kind of hurting my eyes. Very confusing. Yeah, okay. So will we have a look at touch? Okay, this is interesting. I think we need to pick an object, close our eyes, and describe how the object feels in your hand. Okay. So, do you have anything nearby that you could pick up and describe?
Um,
I
oh,
don't know.
I do. Okay, yeah, I've got something. Okay, I've got
Mhm.
something in my hand.
Oh, I have to guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, you can
Okay.
try. And Sarah, if you know, let us know. Okay, I have something which is, it fits in my hand.
Huh?
It's sort of like a circle, circular, or like an oval. It's
Mhm.
it's furry.
Oh.
Okay, furry. Um, and it's not very heavy. Okay, I can easily pick it up in my hand.
So it's the furry that's really throwing me off.
That's the main thing, yeah. At the end, there's two little like ridges. Okay. Bearing
Okay.
in mind I'm sitting at my kitchen table. So what maybe have I just
Okay.
at my kitchen
Okay.
table?
Is it
Yeah.
something you eat?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me think.
It's
Furry.
furry. The skin
Rid
is furry.
ridges. Is it a kiwi?
Yeah, it's a kiwi fruit.
Okay. That's a tricky
Well
one.
done.
That's a yeah.
Mm,
I have something in my hand. I don't know how well I can describe it. Let me think. So it's quite small. It's just it can fit very much inside the palm of my hand. I can fit it between my fingers, which is important for how you use it. It's kind of rectangular, but by using it, the edges have been worn down to kind of circular.
okay. Is it an eraser?
Yeah, wow, you're really good. I didn't even talk about the texture.
Very good.
Great.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, guys. What do you think? Should we leave it there then? We've
Yeah.
done a few.
Yeah, I
So,
don't think we can do sound because of StreamYard, so
yeah, unfortunately.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, so just kind of going over what we talked about today, I think maybe this is the most important slide because here you have some figurative language which is totally everyday, and if you use these, you will really sound like you've mastered English. It will really, because native speakers, we speak figuratively, we don't speak in a very literal way. I think often for Italians, they find English speakers strange because we don't speak very directly. We talk in, figures, exaggerations, being passive aggressive, different strange ways of communicating. So, yeah.
Antonio's got a question for us before we go. It's useful. Mm, I don't know that maybe that's too vague. It could be anything. A pencil, a pen.
Yeah, a knife,
Uh,
a fork. You could a tool. I mean, that's anything. I,
yeah.
I don't think we can get that, can we?
um,
Yeah.
Guys, before you go, I'll just let you know I'm going to have a little plug of our writing group. So, um, yeah, Maravilli has a writing group, a writing club, should I say. This is the email, mayasmilanomeravigli@gmail.com. And if you email us, we can send you some activities to do at home. Okay, so maybe email us, introduce yourself, um, and tell us what level you are, and we can send you some exercises where you practice sort of writing things at length, a couple of paragraphs, and then we'll correct it for you. It's quite useful during this lockdown period.
Yeah, great place to try out figurative language when you're writing.
Yeah, exactly. Antonia, you can write with it. Well, it must be a pen or a pencil. I don't know what
Yeah,
else it could be. I presume so.
pen or pencil. Okay. I'm afraid we'll have to be forever in suspense for what's in Antonia's hand because the time is up. So anyway, yes, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for
Sarah.
commenting.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Have a great
Okay, thanks,
evening, everyone.
Antonio. Okay, see you guys. Bye. Have a nice weekend.
Okay.